Man, look, I think we can all agree that when we see a Woj notification, especially during the offseason or because of a trade, that shit is lit, bro. All of a sudden, you got a new superstar in a new location, and that is exactly what would happen with Damian Lillard if he asked out. Hey, but before I start the video, let me clarify something. There's a 99% chance that none of these happen. Nah, I say more of like a 90% chance. But look, take this video with a grain of salt. If you're a Blazers fan, I understand you love Damian Lillard a lot. I'm not saying they should get rid of Damian Lillard, and I still don't think Damian Lillard will leave. But we're just going to look at the top locations that he can go to have the best chance of winning a championship and also have good teammates. But with all that aside, let's get straight into it. Okay, first of all, let's put together a checklist for Damian Lillard and what he will want in each team. So Damian Lillard, he played on a Portland Trail Blazers team where he didn't have an all-star since 2015, which was LaMarcus Aldridge. So obviously that's probably one of his priorities if he were to move teams. He needs some goddamn help. The next thing that he would need is a good coach. He dealt with Terry Stotts for years in Portland, and Terry Stotts was not a good coach at all. So that would be another thing on his checklist. Another thing that Damian Lillard probably wants is a good location. What I mean by good location is that they have good fans. I mean, if you were to send Damian Lillard to a team which nobody cares about, this is a superstar. He wants his attention. I know Damian Lillard is a very humble and loyal guy, but still at the end of the day, we're talking about NBA players who make millions of dollars. He probably wants the fame more than anything else. Also considering he's a rapper and he's all that shit. But anyway, let's get into the last thing that he would have on his checklist, and that is a winning culture. Damian Lillard doesn't want to go to the Knicks, who's a team that just made the playoffs for the first time in years. He wants to go to a team that's already established itself as a potential playoff contender and championship contender. And in the end of the day, that's the only reason Damian Lillard will ever leave Portland, if he knows he can go to someplace and win a championship or have a great chance at it. Alright, so let's get into the first team. This is the Boston Celtics. Damian Lillard gets traded to the Boston Celtics for Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, the 2024 first round pick, and the 2022 first round pick. Now, this might seem like a haul, and maybe you take away some of those first round picks if you're Boston, but look, to get an all-star player who's a two-way wing, who is improving and is 24 on a very team-friendly contract, that is exactly what you want if you're Portland Trail Blazers. Not only that, you get Marcus Smart, who you can re-sign on a new deal soon, and he can stay with you for years. And that is another defender and something you haven't had in Portland. Now, the fit might be weird because you have two undersized guards in the backcourt, which would be CJ McCollum and Marcus Smart. But I think Marcus Smart's defense make up for it. And if you're trading Damian Lillard, there's an 80% chance you're trading CJ McCollum because they're most likely going to tank. But so what the Celtics get in this situation is they get a guard that can pass the ball. Kemba Walker, he came into the Celtics. He was a fine passer, but he was much more of a scoring guard than anything else. Kyrie Irving came to the Celtics, a scoring guard too. They need somebody to facilitate. Damian Lillard can facilitate at an elite level. Even though he's a scoring guard, he knows how to get his teammates open looks, and it'll be even better when he has a good coach. So on Damian Lillard's checklist, this checks off an all-star teammate with Jason Tatum, a good coach with Ime Udoka, and I know that might be a stretch considering he's a first-year head coach, but they have Brad Stevens, who's a really good coach for that organization for many years. It also checks off a good location. Boston is a pretty big city, and it's a pretty solid city. I mean, when I went there, it was pretty cool. And it also checks off winning culture. The Celtics haven't missed the playoffs in a while, and Jason Tatum, they were just in the Eastern Conference Finals a year ago. And the next trade location is Damian Lillard to the Golden State Warriors. Now look, at the beginning of the video, I said take it with a grain of salt. Some of these are going to be unrealistic, but look, man, I think it would be very entertaining. So Damian Lillard will go to the Golden State Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, the 7th pick, the 14th pick, and another first round pick. Now instead of that, I actually think the Warriors have to trade more picks, so I'll put a couple more in there. But look, on this checklist, it checks off everything. All-star teammates, you have Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. Good coach, Steve Kerr, better than Terry Stotts. He didn't look that good this year, but he's definitely better than Terry Stotts, and he knows how to get good open looks from three. And Damian Lillard is a prolific three-point shooter. Good location, you in Oakland, where you grew up, Damian Lillard. You loved the Raiders growing up because you grew up in Oakland. You have this whole attachment to Oakland. Well, there you go, bro. You in your home place. And winning culture. Of course the Warriors have that. They have 3 championships in the last 7 years. They've been one of the best organizations in the past decade. The next place that Damian Lillard could go to is the Denver Nuggets. And I'm not saying this just because I'm a homer, but I think there is a trade there to be made. Now, there can be a trade centered around Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray, but I'll just center it around Jamal Murray, considering it'll be an easier trade to make. Now, to me, I don't want to get rid of Jamal Murray. I love the man to death. But look, if it's Damian Lillard, we got to get rid of Jamal Murray. So the trade would be Jamal Murray, Bol, a first and a second for Damian Lillard. Now, why the Blazers only get a first and a second is because Jamal Murray is already an all-star level player. In the games that he did play healthy in the NBA season, he shot 50, 45, 90. That is ridiculous efficiency. I know you're playing with Nikola Jokic, so that does help out your efficiency, and it won't be the same with the Blazers. I don't think so. But Jamal Murray is an all-star level player with a pretty good ceiling, and he would really jumpstart that rebuild for the Portland Trail Blazers. But let's go to the checklist, man. This checks off an all-star to play with. Damian Lillard would be playing with Nikola Jokic, the best center in the league, the best passer in the league, one of the greatest passers ever. Damian Lillard's looks will get 10 times better. He's playing with a good coach. Mike Malone is a great offensive coach. It'll make it a lot easier on Damian Lillard than it was at Portland. Good location. I love Denver, but I don't think superstars do. So good location we won't check off, because even though I agree that is a great location, NBA players don't. And then winning culture, yes, the Denver Nuggets have a winning culture. This rebuild was not based off of tanking. It was really just about being mediocre and as good as possible until you can get a superstar like Nikola Jokic and an all-star like Jamal Murray. And for the last trade, a lot of people want Damian Lillard in Philadelphia, and I think it would be great. That pick and roll with Joel Embiid will be elite, just like it will be with Nikola Jokic. But Philly, I feel like they have some assets they can offload a little bit easier than Denver can. Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey, cap filler, a 2021 unprotected first, a 2023 unprotected first, and a 2025 lottery protected first round pick. Now that is a fucking haul. But Ben Simmons' value is at an all-time low. They need to make sure they play Ben Simmons back into his value before even trying to trade him for Damian Lillard. And of course, the 76ers get Damian Lillard. So let's go to the checklist, bruh. All-star teammates. Joel Embiid was an MVP candidate last season. Of course he's an all-star. Good coach. I don't know. Doc Rivers is a very interesting coach. I'd say he's better than Terry Stotts, though. Who knows? I just think Damian Lillard can figure it out himself, considering that he's an elite playmaker. And really the only reason the Sixers haven't gotten farther in years past is because they've had no elite playmaker. Good location. Yeah. Philadelphia is a great basketball location. They love basketball, and Philly is one of the best basketball cities in the NBA. Winning culture. I don't know. Yes and no. It's weird to me with their winning culture. They made the playoffs a lot in the past couple years. They've disappointed in a couple of them, though. So I think they have a winning culture, as in they will get to the playoffs for sure. But they also tanked all them years. Their winning culture is kind of iffy, so we'll leave that unmarked. But to me, I would think Philly would be one of his best chances to get a championship, considering it is in a weaker conference too. Damian Lillard been in the Portland Trail Blazers with that weird team, and he's been in a fucking terrible ass conference, considering it's so hard to get out of there. Yeah, the East will make it a whole lot easier on Damian Lillard. But anyway, y'all, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. And yeah, peace out.
It was boring and I do not be with that. Smoking on this tree, I eat with the cat. It be around me cause I don't trust a soul, yeah. Niggas switching up on they bros, yeah. Changing up for these hoes, yeah.